Hi, and welcome to the 2020 Economic Recession and Preparation channel for Tuesday, August the 4th, 2020. And today, I want to talk to you about the looming housing crisis in America. CNBC.com is reporting that the pandemic may cause 40 million Americans to lose their homes. As you know, that unemployment levels remain at historic highs above 10%. And we have over 55 million Americans unemployed at this moment with no end in sight as stimulus checks. The second round of stimulus checks has been delayed by Congress, who has not passed the bill. The Senate's last day in session before its August recess is August the 7th, which means that Congress has to agree on a final stimulus bill before then if it's to keep its planned schedule of having the checks mailed out in September. If this new stimulus bill does not pass, this second stimulus bill, which in my opinion will be the last stimulus that we receive for the year, yea, even through the rest of this recession depression, it could be months before many will receive that check. It could be at least 2 months, and the U.S. economy is looking to face a surge of evictions from apartments and later on foreclosures on mortgages and homes as early as the month of December 2020 for those homeowners. Right now, homeowners have a little bit of a grace period more than renters because it takes a long time, as you know, to get someone foreclosed, evicted from a house because of probate courts, etc. But it still can be done. But for renters, you know the drill. A week and your stuff is on outside on the lawn. The sickness pandemic may cause more than 40 million Americans to lose their homes, 4 times the amount seen during the Great Recession of 2008. One family that was facing after the eviction moratorium expired in Maryland, that was on July 27th. You know, the eviction moratorium expired July 31st. One family said that the young man said he applied to more than 400 jobs over the last few months and nothing has panned out. He was already months behind on his rent. They knew that they did not have a family to fall back on, and he had his husband, wife, and 2 kids. So they spent their night in the car, sleeping in the car in a storage unit parking lot. Okay. Things are getting very, very serious apart, and not just in the Northeast, in the South, in the Midwest, in the West. Things are getting very, very concerning and very serious because unemployment remains at historic highs despite the first stimulus check and the business PPP loans. Many cities, counties, and states will be have to enforce the eviction rules if Congress does not pass the second stimulus package, because there will be no help. The cavalry is not coming. The government is historically broke. We are still $26 trillion in debt, and they're trying to come up with a stimulus package of $1 trillion at least. Why not 5 trillion? Why not 10 trillion? Why not 20 trillion? Because we don't have it in the Treasury. The Federal Reserve has ran out of ammunition to fight this crisis because the sickness is showing no signs of abating. Statewide eviction moratoriums in more than 30 states have now lifted, and protections for renters under the CARES Act is now gone. So we're faced with this month of August and September without the protection of the CARES Act, in which landlords can now consider evicting those who do not have the money to pay. And let's say even if they do pass the second stimulus package, if we get the Republican version, that $600 extra unemployment stimulus will be reduced to $100 a week, or 70% of your previous income. So that will not be enough to make an ends meet in the top 10 cities in the U.S. where the cost of living is higher than the wages offered at most of the jobs being offered to Americans. So we have hiring freezes at many of the organizations, both public sector and private sector, until the sickness crisis is over, which we know is going to be at a minimum 2 years for if the vaccine even works that they come up with next year. So there is going to be a surge in rental property evictions, and that could have a broader domino effect on the housing market and economy, says Tendai Kempifi, chief economist at LendingTree. As a matter of fact, many people have called for the federal government to halt evictions during the pandemic and to extend special unemployment benefits to prevent a further breakdown in the economy. But it's too late, because this domino effect is going to affect our schools. As you know, many of our children and even colleges are trying to do virtual learning, but that means that those buildings are not getting the property taxes. Those school buildings are not getting the property taxes for the goods and services. We're going to see a decrease in housing prices coming up. It could be as soon as November, after the elections at Thanksgiving time. We're going to see a decrease in housing prices and a decrease possibly in rental prices. But the problem with that is that it's going to be too far in, because everybody is going to not be able to afford the rent, that even if it is lower, because no one's going to have any jobs. We're already at 55 million people unemployed. We get the new numbers this Thursday. If we get another million people, that's the 20th straight week that we've had 1 million or more people unemployed in this country. Okay? Nearly 2 in 5 tenants across the country, particularly low-wage workers, are in danger of being served eviction notices. I've seen it for myself in my own community, apartment community, that there have been at least 2 to 3 notices served. And a lot of other people who weren't served notices have already moved out for a cheaper apartment or a cheaper living, okay, because they could and they want to get out before the storm hits. So, this is what we're facing. This is the imminent thing. And we cannot rely on the next stimulus check, because the next stimulus check won't even come the month of August. It may be September the 15th, mid-September, before we receive another check of such magnitude. Even if it is $1,200 or more, it won't make a much difference in your day-to-day bills that you have right now in your city, in your suburban towns, and in your communities. Look forward to crumbling, decaying cities. That's what we have to look forward to. Look forward to abandoned apartment high-rise buildings. And look forward to homes that are going to be bought up by these banks, monopoly banks, for pennies on the dollar. This is exactly what they want. The big, when I say they, I mean the upper 1% who controls majority of these housing complexes and apartments and condos, townhomes, and even single family homes. They want to buy up these houses for pennies on the dollar, okay? And they want us to pay premium dollar, because they want control, total control of the housing market. And the same thing happened in 2008. Only difference in 2008 is that they papered over this crisis and collapse and were able to successfully do it. This time they're not going to be able to do it, because everything is crumbling. Okay, we do not have the money to build a wall around our country. So what makes you think we have the money to repair our infrastructure in these cities and towns, if not for property taxes, if not for the school taxes, if not for sale taxes, which are all going to be dropping, because services like police, fire, and school services are going to be crumbling, as they're not going to have the revenue to support the government. City, county, federal, state, local is not going to have the revenue to support all of the services like trash services, water services. All of the public services are going to be going down. It's going to be an absolute mess. But the main thing that you need to secure for your family is shelter, no matter what. Shelter, food, and water is your 3 highest priorities in the beginning of this crisis. And that's why I say that's what the most things that you have to. So if you have to move in with family members, then do so. But make sure that you save whatever money that you can. Take out whatever you can out of your 401ks, whatever you have in 403bs. Take that out and secure housing, whether that's temporary housing, mobile housing, or any kind of housing. Secure that before credit dries up, because credit is already drying up. A lot of credit card companies are reducing the limits of people's credit cards. And cash, as you know, is in short supply. There's a liquidity crisis, because they're trying to move everybody into the new world order, which is a cashless society. We'll talk about that in future videos, but I just want to share that with you as a heads up that that's what's coming, and that's why there's a coin shortage and all of that stuff, because we're getting into a cashless society where we're going to be paying with our phones and other means of payment, and that's why the 5G is coming too in a lot of these cities. So we're going to have a high technological infrastructure, but a poor, crumbling physical infrastructure. Isn't that very ironic in America? That is going to be very interesting to see. In any event, Stay safe, my friends. Stay blessed. Continue to prepare, and I'll talk to you very shortly.